Hello.
Hello. In this episode, we are talking about checking in with ourselves, physically, mentally, and emotionally, as well as checking in with others.
And if you like us and you like what we're doing here, can you please like it? Can you please subscribe? Can you please leave us a review?
And if you like episodes early, get a membership at glitterandcatlitter.com or on YouTube. Enjoy. Glitter and Cat Litter.
Glitter and Cat Litter.
I don't think I started it.
You just started it.
You started it.
No, you started it.
I'm bad at this.
You've done it at least 12 times now.
Not podcasting this.
Oh.
Rude.
You started it. I would say
I
that
just
this
slapped
is
my
such
knee.
a...
That was a knee slapper.
Oh my God.
Wow.
You are not allowed to
I'm
go
fired.
anywhere.
I'll leave.
Okay, go to your room.
This is my room.
No, go to... Oh, yeah, shoot, I guess this is. Go to your other room. I would say that this is a pretty important topic.
I agree.
Oh, that's not even what I wrote. But that's, yeah, I would say it's also very overlooked.
Yeah.
Something that we all take for granted.
Well, yes and no. I think forms of it.
You didn't hear my Jungle Cruise
said
joke?
granite?
You didn't hear my Jungle Cruise joke? It's
Boy. I think that some forms of checking in with yourself are overlooked, for sure. I wrote down 3 categories.
Wow. Okay, so there's categories for this.
Physically,
Wow.
mentally,
Wow.
emotionally.
Wow. Why are physical or mental and emotional separate?
I think that they are separate.
What's separate about them? Like you're just gonna close your eyeballs and you're gonna go, mentally I'm okay, but emotionally I'm not.
Yeah.
They're not the same thing?
No.
You're not gonna give me any elaboration. You're just gonna leave us hanging here.
Mentally, like, I think of what I am spending my time thinking of, what I am focusing on. That is what I think of mentally. It affects your emotional state. At least for me, it affects my emotional state. But there is, like, I wrote down each thing. So, like, mentally for me, I'm very good at forgetting things.
Okay.
And I feel like that's a safety mechanism for me.
Like a goldfish?
Yes.
Okay.
Because if I can forget about things, then it won't affect me emotionally. I know that that's not correct. But in my mind, I'm like, your brain always finds a way. But in like short period of time, I can forget about it. I can remove it from my thoughts for right now.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around the mentally and emotionally being 2 different things. Because where you're kind of leaning, what you're claiming is mentally kind of almost seems a little bit more like on the physical side. And then when you're talking about emotionally, it's kind of on the mental side.
Physically, okay, so would you only put it in 2 categories?
I only put it in 2, which was physically and emotionally. I didn't do the mentally because I was kind of like, well, your mental state exactly affects your emotional state.
Where I was going to go with people not, what was the term that you used? People are very good at like looking over this.
Taking it for granted. You teed me up to give you the same joke twice.
No, that wasn't what you said though.
I said that it's overlooked.
Overlooked.
Yeah, you take it for granted.
Self-care has become a huge thing. That has not been overlooked by a lot of people.
But your definition of self-care, wow.
Wow, are you okay?
What was that? Weird. I said self and it didn't feel right. So I went self and then I realized that was worse. But I think your definition of, not yours, each human's definition of self-care, oh my God. Each person's definition. I need a moment.
Wow. It's like stealth is the word you're thinking of, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not going. Each person's definition of self
I got so
care, I was
nervous.
so scared too, is so is so different. And I think depending on where you are, like physically and emotionally or mentally,
Mhm.
you may have a healthy or unhealthy relationship to it.
Yeah.
And because some people's self-care, they'll be like, I need a bubble bath and to go listen to a podcast that does not help me. It might only stress me out. That's bad self-care, right?
Yeah.
You know what it is? You said self-care the first time and I heard healthcare. And I can't separate them.
This is so funny.
But I know. But the self-care, when I think about that, yes, it is way more in the like limelight now,
Yeah.
which is really great. But I think that when it's used as the excuse with like junk food or being lazy on the couch or just binging TV or sitting in a bubble bath for 8 hours with a bottle of wine, or you name the things that just you avoiding everything, is not actually self-care. That's the
Yeah.
exact opposite of what this should be doing, which I think, just like the excessive fitness stuff that's going around right now, and excessive productivity and excessive self-care and excessive all of the things, the pendulum is going so far one way that it gives so much room for the failure of it that like you can spin it to be a positive versus it actually being the failure that it is.
Uh-huh.
Because then you're doing the opposite of what you're supposed to be doing, which makes you hate whatever you're doing or makes you feel worse about yourself. But realistically, if you just want to be true or truthful about it, it's not going well,
Yeah.
right? That derailed because of me not being able to say self-care.
That was
Oh my gosh.
very well said though, what you just said. Very nice.
Thanks.
Okay, so where do you want to start? Because I am not good at checking in with myself. I never have been.
okay.
I'm a lot better now.
I don't know why I just decided I needed to get really comfortable in the chair right now, but I'm
Kind of like it.
I'm into it right now.
Huh.
I don't know how this is gonna portray. You know what? For their audio listeners, this is great. You have no idea what's going on, and it's better that way. And I'm gonna move the microphone. Okay.
Ooh, sketchy
It was
business.
so quiet.
That
You
really
didn't even
was.
notice. I was thinking about it, and I realized that I put attentive, or because I don't think sensitive is the right word for me. Technically, I am sensitive to it, but not in the term, or not in the sense that most people would think of sensitive. Where like I'm very sensitive to my physical and emotional state, but not like, oh, Taylor's sensitive, don't go talk to him. Oh, you can't go do it. I'm sensitive in the sense of I'm very conscious of what affects me and what messes me up and whether or not it's going to affect me, which is more the checking in, because like if you put me in a position or in a situation that is like typically a higher stress or a higher like stressor to me,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that it's going to put me in a position where I'm sensitive to it.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm trying to say.
But what's really interesting is I think I've had this conversation with like your mom or someone close to you in the past of like, you are a more sensitive person
Correct.
than me. If we're like looking at us,
Outwardly.
I would say you are more sensitive, but I'm more emotional.
Massively.
Which is very interesting, like how that works. Because I don't think I'm a sensitive person.
Oh, you are so sensitive.
Really? I'm emotional. I don't get like offended or it doesn't because
okay. No,
and I think
you're
it's related
correct,
to us checking in with ourselves because I am not sensitive to like what you are sensitive to. What you were just saying that you're sensitive to like how things
Yeah.
affect you. I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. I get that. I don't know why or how I am. I was thinking about that. I'm like, how do I explain this? And I was like, well, I guess I'm constantly checking in with myself, kind of. And I
Yeah.
think that's part of the sensitivity is like I'm doing it subconsciously or just always anyway, whether or not it's like at the forefront of my thought or conversation, which well, I guess I wouldn't be talking about it very much, but
Well,
but I'm just constantly aware of it. That's more what it is.
always
I'm aware. I'm not necessarily always checking in, but I'm very aware of it a lot of the time.
because like let's put it this way. In conversations like at the beginning of the day, I know how you're doing without even asking you, usually because you are telling me. Like you are
Like physically telling you, or just what I'm doing is telling
both.
you?
Because you're not afraid to be like, hey, I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling that way, because you have checked in with yourself.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, you never know how I'm doing.
No, you're just a closed book.
Because I don't know how I'm doing. I'm just doing. Which is not good. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
And that I'm actively working on that.
Yeah.
And like, I think that this past year, I guess it has been a year of us working out has made me really realize that, because there's a lot of physical things that you are constantly checking in on yourself, and it's very healthy. And I realized, I don't do that. Like, I know that I can push through. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe there are times that I should not be doing that.
Yeah, the most interesting thing has been me realizing how very few people actually do what I do constantly, which is understand where I am physically and emotionally.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've always done pretty much. And I didn't, up until kind of the last year, I never realized how much it was affecting me. Like my physical feeling was affecting my mental or emotional feeling, and vice versa. I never really noticed that until we started working out and everything. And, but then I realized that every time I ask either our trainer or whoever about stuff like this, most people freak out. And to me, it's not a freak out thing at all, because we're talking. So if there's like a situation, like the best situation that I can think of is the protein thing, where like, so slight side note, we switched proteins. I don't really like supplements. That's another side note to this.
Yeah,
We're not huge supplement people. But we have been doing taking protein, as a supplement for, working out. I would love to gain muscle. So if it helps gain muscle faster, great. And there's a protein that has had really great reviews. Everybody has said amazing things about them. And it went on sale on Amazon, and I was like, oh, sweet. We're pretty much out of our previous protein. I'd love to try it. So we try it, and I don't realize until about half of the bottle or half of the jar is gone, but my body has literally not been processing it. So I've been, I stopped taking it like 2.5, or it's 3 weeks now, huh?
Yeah.
I stopped taking it 3 weeks ago. I'm still dealing with my body trying to process it. And as I've talked to people about it,
this is what we believe to be happening.
Right.
We're not doctors.
I haven't gone to a doctor, but from everything that's worked and all of the things that I've tried and everybody that I've talked to that know anything about this stuff, has pretty much lined up exactly with what I'm saying. So it seems like, also, by the way, the best solution for me has been digestive enzymes. So if you want to know, that's worked really well. But I've been like just constantly pretty bloated, which is a very, I can relate to women a little bit better now, I think, honestly.
Thank you.
But that sucks. Where was I going with this? What were we talking about?
Checking in with yourselves.
Oh yeah.
Brian not worrying.
So
you're
people,
not freaking out.
So I'm not freaking out, but when I talk to anybody about it, a lot of other people are freaking out because me explaining this, they're like, dude, this is like really bad. Like, you even a couple times have been like, it's been too long. And I'm like, but hold on. I don't actually feel any negative things. I don't feel any discomfort. I'm just telling you. So like, if I'm on a scale of 1 to 10 on like how severe this is, we're talking like 0.5, and I'm updating you throughout the day of the 0.5 difference. Like, most people would never notice what I'm telling you. Most people would have finished the protein, bought it again, and kept going, and would never have figured it out. or cared or noticed or a thing. Because every time I've talked to like our trainer, or my mom even realized that she thinks that this protein makes her bloated too, which I know protein makes some people bloated a lot. But she was like, wait, I just realized I haven't been bloated and I haven't taken the protein for a few weeks and now I'm not as bloated. Oh, wait, maybe it's kind of doing the same thing to me. And I was like, it could be. I don't know. I can't speak for it. But I'm like, I'm talking like the fractions of percents on every day that I catch, but talking to like our trainer and everybody else, like no one is paying attention to that.
Well,
So
I have to remind myself, because you do that and you do update, like me especially.
Yeah.
You talk about it a lot. Like when something's wrong, it's not like he's complaining.
There's some complaining in there. We don't need to sugarcoat that.
There's a lot of conversation about it. It's like all consuming for some things that I'm like, okay, calm down. Either go to the doctor or don't. Like, I don't know what to tell you. But then I have to remind myself, he's someone who will tell me literally everything there is to know in case something is actually wrong.
Yeah.
Because he'd rather have it that way, which makes complete sense, rather than him like passing out and I'm like, I have no idea what was wrong with him.
I'm not going to leave you high and dry and then I pass out or something happens to me and then you have a doctor or an ambulance or something show up. I know this is like the excessive route of this, but like an ambulance or something show up and they go, what happened? And you go, I have no idea.
Right.
That is like literally my biggest nightmare, because then like what are they going to give me to fix me? What are they going to do to like help?
Yeah.
How can they help if they have no information? I know from my work that is unrelated, but if you go, this doesn't work, and I go, what do you mean? And you go, it doesn't work. And we're talking about something that has 100 solutions.
Right.
But you're saying like, it doesn't work. I'm like, you got to give me something.
And the human body is way more complex than that.
And now imagine you being like,
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. He doesn't work. Look, he doesn't work. And they're like, what happened? I don't know. He doesn't work.
Oh my gosh.
But you know what I mean? So like, I'd rather if something was to happen, you be able to be like, oh, the past 4 days, this is how he felt each day. We had a conversation that he knows and he told me exactly how it was going. So they at least have somewhere to start.
So here's what's so annoying about this, because I don't do that. But when I do, I hate it. Let me rephrase. The reason I don't do it, this is going to sound so stupid now that I say it out loud. So if I complain about something or if I vocalize something that's happening, Taylor's response within seconds is, well, did you do anything about it?
Oh my God, yes.
Which... I should do something about it. Yes, that is helpful. I should have possibly done something about it before I even brought it up to you. Yes, but I didn't. And it's so annoying because I'm like, I know I should have done something.
The last few years, Nicole's bug bites have been pretty bad. They're like mosquito bites or wherever you get them. It's typically mosquitoes.
I think so.
And they like her more than they like me. Thank God.
A lot more.
And something shifted. I don't know if it was with you or with the mosquitoes. I feel like it's the mosquitoes because a lot of people have said that stuff shifted. But her bug bites now, instead of them being just like a stereotypical, like like pinky nail size bite on you, they end up becoming these like giant welts. I remember the one time you shot with Corey and you had one on your thigh that was literally the size of a softball.
So Corey, if she ever listens to this,
the saint that fixed your...
For real, she had to sit and edit, and it wasn't like sure, photographers touch up photos, but I don't have like any touch ups in my photos.
Also, it's because I'm too lazy.
Which honestly, I don't want it because I want to look how I look in real life. I don't ever want people to see a photo of me and then see me in real life and be like, whoa. I would rather have it be like, oh, whoa, like you look even better in real life rather than the opposite.
Work hard.
But Corey had to edit these photos. And I remember, I think I had 7 on my legs and I was wearing a leotard. So my legs were shown 100% of the time. And it was in the middle of summer that we were doing this shoot. It was hot. It was like a summery shoot. And there was no hiding it. And she had to sit and edit. And it wasn't just like I'll just remove redness. She had to like reshape my leg in some parts of the photos because my leg was a different shape, a literal different shape because of these bug bites.
Yeah, it looked like there was I remember a couple of shots that like your leg looked fully deformed.
Yeah.
It was like a full, like almost deformity because it was so swollen from the bug bites. But then literally we found out from trying, if you take a Zyrtec, it works. And if you ice it works.
Yeah, like the icing is obvious. Like I did try that and that didn't really do much.
Well, it mostly relieves swelling and stuff a little bit, but that's not a long lasting solution. The Zyrtec
helps a lot. And
or allergy medicine.
The other day I was saying how bad it hurt. And Taylor looks at me and goes, "Did you take a Zyrtec?" And I just go, no, I didn't. Like I completely forgot. And I just like turned because we were in the kitchen. I turned and went into the cabinet and got it. And I just literally forgot. It did not even cross my mind to do it.
It's just like, man, if it's itchy and it bothers you and you have the solution and you know the solution, wouldn't you think maybe you do something with the solution?
You would think that.
Well, then how do you remember to use that bug thingy that I got you that gets all hot? How do you remember how to use that one, but you can't remember how to take a Zyrtec?
I don't know. I have no answers.
You idiot.
As I put in my notes, I'm very good at forgetting. Very good.
Come on. Yeah, I get it.
But
like,
okay, so back to checking in with ourselves physically. Like
or just as a whole, checking in with yourself. Or we're going by topic. I don't have it broken up into topics. So.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, let me start there.
Okay.
Physically, I feel like I was taught, and this is a very good thing and a very not so good thing. I was taught that I can push through, and that does mentally, like a lot of mental work comes into that. Basically convincing yourself that you can physically do it, because that is, I think, half of it. But I was taught at a very young age to do that. So I am very grateful for that because I'm very good at pushing through and making things happen, even if it's uncomfortable. But that can also be a very bad thing because I'm not so great at checking in with myself to be like, hey, are you okay? Are you okay with this?
Yeah.
Are you physically okay with this? Mentally, emotionally? Like, are you good? Is there something that I can do to make it better or make it, make it better? I'm learning how to do that now.
Yeah.
In my 30s.
I'm definitely the opposite of that. I'm like the full opposite, like where I will know what the result will get me. And I'm just like, it's not even worth it. I'm not even going to bother. So I just like won't. So I'll like do the opposite of the things. Like
It's
I
really
know
amazing.
I won't push myself sometimes with things. Like I won't push myself because I know that the result won't yield because I know where it's going to go, which I know is also just as negative as pushing yourself too far. Right.
Right.
In certain circumstances, because if you don't push yourself, then you don't necessarily grow and you don't do all of that. But I wouldn't say that I am like safety netting myself into not pushing myself at all. It's more, I won't push myself to the point of like, I know where the limit that I should stop is before I'm going too far. Right. Like the easiest example would be like weightlifting, where like I can try, and if I can do it, great, I'll push, but I'm gently going to push because the last thing on the whole planet is getting hurt and it's not worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. But if we're talking like creativity or work or stuff like that, I also don't push myself too hard because a lot of times if I'm too tired, it's not going to happen anyway. And then that's when you notice you make mistakes and then you literally have to redo the work later. Like there was a couple things when I was scheduling some of the like promotional stuff for this, I was actually starting to like fall asleep a little, or like I was so just tired. I don't remember. I feel like it was pretty late, whatever night I was doing it. And I was like, did I actually do the work? And I ended up having to recheck my work on 3 like posts because I was like, I don't actually remember doing it. Turns out I did it exactly right. I did exactly what I was supposed to do, but that was me pushing beyond that limit that I normally stop myself and I say I'll do it later. But I was so close to the end that I was like, I have to push through anyway.
Yeah.
But typically I would never do that.
I just recently thought I did that. I had to re-edit something for one of the skating classes because I realized my alignment of music was messed up. And I was like thinking back to it. I'm like, did I do this late at night? Like, was I rushing
were
to
you
do
on
this?
AirPods or something? Or maybe not even AirPods.
No. And I wasn't even doing it. I wasn't rushing. I wasn't doing it at night. It was full on in the middle of the day, like when I should have been doing it. And I just messed it up. I don't know. But it was just lucky that I checked it because I usually, honestly, like don't go back and check the full video. Like I'm not going to rewatch a 30-minute class.
Yeah.
But I just happened to recheck that one part. I don't know if subconsciously I like knew that something may have been wrong. I don't know. But I'm glad I did. But I was frustrated because I had to re-edit it.
I mean, that also happens from like going too fast or like, I don't know. I mean, we could sit here all day and find reasons that you messed something up. You
sent me that thing the other day that was like, slow is steady and steady is fast, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
Yeah. No, it's true. Because it's like, I mean, that term of like slow and steady wins the race, but that's not, I mean, that's only part of the story, right? Like the whole story is like the slow is the steady is actually what ends up being fast, because when you go too fast, you skip a lot of stuff. So it's like when you have someone around you to pick up all the things that you're missing, you can just be fast as fast. But then someone has to be steady to keep you being fast.
So I figured, okay, slight side note, this past week in some of the private lessons that I taught, I had this same conversation because there are a lot of skaters that, let's say they started in 2020 and they learned all the tricks.
Oh, yep.
And now it's 2023 and they are like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do the fundamentals. Like, I know that I look like I know what I can do all this stuff, but I need you to treat me like I'm just starting and like teach what you would teach a beginner, like a very beginner. And I feel so silly doing it when I'm doing it because I'm like, okay, I know you know this thing, but I need you to just focus on this edge. Like just do the edge and hold it. And I'm like, the teacher in me loves it because I'm like, oh, let's go back to the fundamentals, because I have like even the top skaters. Like for me, when I practice, I literally practice my edges. Like I don't just go and do the frilly stuff. When I'm actually practicing, I practice my edges first. And so it's like, oh, I love it, but it feels very silly. And I'm sure they feel very silly, like going back to it. But that is that perfect example of like, no, slow and steady will end up being the best result in the end.
Yeah. I mean, that's a crazy one. And I mean, I guess that's checking your work is also a good example of just like checking in with yourself. It's like, it's also like measure twice, cut once. If you've ever done DIY stuff, you measure, I always measure like 40 times and cut once, and I still did it wrong half the time, and I make it work.
You really should have me check your work, your math.
It's more the tools that we have that are not like the exact tool you should be using to be exactly accurate with stuff. So it's like, I usually use, for the DIY people that care, I use just some total POS circular saw I bought that I've never replaced the blade for. We've had it for like 4 years, 4 years, and I've never replaced the blade for it. They're not expensive to replace them. I just, every time I need to use it, it's way too late to go buy a blade for it. So, we're using a dull blade. But that does not help when you've measured it correctly a few times and then you cut it and then it doesn't cut exactly straight. And then you have to go, like on a 2x4, you have to cut from one side and you have to go around it and cut from the other side because the blade is too dull to cut straight through.
Awful.
Yes, it's horrible. It's stupid. I should just go get a new blade. But like, if I go buy a new blade, I'm not going to use the damn thing for another like year plus. And then I just bought a blade just because eventually I'll use it. I mean, that sounds pretty smart. You'll be ready. But,
yeah.
But like, also I'm like, I'll just buy it when I go buy the like things that I need to get. And of course it's not going to be on the list.
You mean when I go buy the things?
It depends on what the project is. But
I go to Home Depot a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important to check in on yourself and check in with your work or check in with the stuff that you like, But checking in with yourself is I think it's like super important because there's so often it's actually kind of hard for me to talk about this because it's so second nature for me that it's like it almost feels like not worse than rudimentary, but like not even on the same level as rudimentary for like skating stuff. It's like almost like not a practice thing. It's like it is literally part of my life.
Well,
But
so that's not the case for me, which like we've started journaling and it's not like
we've been doing this for like 2 years.
It's a habit now, but like journaling in the morning. And for me, that's been extremely healthy and like really good for me because that is when I basically check in with myself at the start of the day. And I also think it's great to do it midday and at the end of the day. Like I've kind of started to do it at the end of my workday as well.
That's cool.
But that's been really good for me. But the way I used to check in with myself in a way is by setting goals and like checking in on them every month, every 3 months.
Yeah.
I have kind of stopped doing that.
It's probably better that you've stopped doing that right now with how focused it would be only on work versus anything else.
True. But I wrote down in my notes, I don't know that that's a good thing. I think that I'm afraid of my goals.
Oh, absolutely. I fully know that you're afraid of your goals.
And like, I'm so afraid that I haven't even fully thought of what they are. Like, I probably know what they are, but I haven't convinced myself that they're real. And because I haven't written them down and spoken about them, then they're not real, which I know is false. But that I don't think is necessarily a healthy thing right now. I think that I should face my fears and my goals and all of that to actually be able to proceed in life.
I agree. I fully I agree that I don't think right now you are in the best space to be doing like goal setting for stuff because it is too focused on not the right details of whatever you're doing. Mm-hmm. So it would sit in somewhere that might actually be an off base goal because it would be something that's unattainable because you won't focus on it and you'll set the goal and then you literally just handed yourself the failure before you even like really lined it up in a way that like the goal actually is the goal. Because I can't think of an example, but it would be something more like I used a coffee reference with you the other day when we were talking about this. I was like, it's like going to make a pour over, but you used the espresso machine and made yourself an espresso, and then you wondered why it wasn't a pour over.
You did use that.
And I'm like, that's where your focus is right now. So I'm like, if you were to set a goal, it would genuinely be like, I want a double espresso, and you made a pour over. You're like, why isn't it? You're like, why is it wrong? And you're like, well, it's like because you used the wrong tools.
But it's like when you get to that space that you are in a good space to actually do that. I think that's a really good way of checking in on yourself and of like making sure you're where you are wanting to be in life.
I mean, having goals is the only way to see where you've progressed from. I mean, if you don't ever set goals or don't check in, you'll never know where you started or where you've gone. Like the weirdest one that I have a love-hate relationship with is like weighing ourselves, which is that one is a very like slippery slope, but for us it's I can't say fully healthy because I get really frustrated right now, especially with like with my bloating and everything that I've been going through. But like the weighing yourself every day really is just a trend. So if you look at it monthly, it's actually really healthy. If you look at it daily and you're like analyzing every detail, you will absolutely lose your mind and you'll become so jaded to what you actually are and like where you're at and everything goes out the window. But if you look at it like monthly, quarterly, yearly, you will see the trend that is healthy or unhealthy depending on where your weight is, what you're doing, how you're trying to do better, not trying to do better. Mm-hmm. You'll see it all, right? Yeah. But like when I was thinking about this and like trying to portray how important it is, like it's crazy because it really helps you stay on whatever path you're on or find the path that you're on. Because if you don't know, you got to find where you are. you know?
Yeah.
I don't know what, I have an obsession with Pokemon right now, everyone. I need
He
to.
does.
I've always loved Pokemon, but for some reason, they've come back to me.
Do you know what triggered it?
I like them. I don't know. I have no idea why that started again or why I would have. I have no idea.
I mean, we have it on your little screen. Your
Yeah, I
tidbit.
have it on my screen. So I have a little screen. It's called Tidbit. And you it's just kind of fun. You put stuff on it and they have the who's that Pokemon. Like if you watched the Pokemon show and they do in between the commercials, I think, and they go, who's that Pokemon? And it's the shadow of the Pokemon or the outline.
Silhouette.
The silhouette. There it is. The silhouette of the Pokemon. And then after a few seconds, they'll show you what Pokemon it is. If it's any of the first generation Pokemon, I do not get it wrong. I literally have yet to get it wrong. And I started saying this like over a month ago and I still get it right. And I'm like so shocked because I don't ever actively pay attention to Pokemon. I would love to fill my brain with other information than that. But literally before we recorded this, one of them came up and I went, Venomoth. And you were like, why? And I'm like, I don't know.
I don't get any
I don't
of them.
know. I don't understand
actually used
why.
to watch Pokemon. I never like played. I had
I
all the
love
cards.
Pokemon.
I like watched the show. I was very into it with my brothers, but I don't actually remember like anything.
I freaking love it, man. I love all of it.
I
don't
think
know
I remember
why.
it's Team Rocket.
Yeah.
I remember like their song or
I don't
something,
remember
or
that.
the thing they said.
I don't remember it.
Oh man,
I don't know. But
we should do that for Halloween.
Team Rocket? Or
Yeah.
do you give me any reason to be Ash Ketchum? Oh my gosh.
You want to be Ash?
He's my favorite.
Oh my god,
You
you'd
could
be
be
such a good
Pikachu.
Ash. Oh.
Oh, we're going to get our full Pikachu costume if we did that.
But then I'm like a furry.
Oh, I don't know if I'm ready for that. But when I was thinking about this, I literally, as I was writing my notes, I went, it helps you stay on the right track. It's like checking your Pokédex. And I went like, I'm such a nerd.
Wow.
I love it, but I'm such a nerd. And also, every freaking ad for me on Instagram right now is Pokemon.
Really?
Everything. And I send all of it to Isaac, and he has yet to buy anything. I just want him to buy it all. I don't know why.
I don't know if you've noticed today, but like my algorithm, my Explore page today,
Is baseball?
all baseball.
Why?
I don't know, but I'm very happy about
Was
it.
your phone by me when I was talking to Ryan and everybody? Because if it was, we
No.
were talking about baseball.
It wasn't.
Well, that sucks to be you.
I don't know, but I'm not mad about it because usually it's all babies and marriages and things. And today it's all baseball, and I'm stoked.
Yeah, I like baseball.
Yours was all Disneyland when I was.
Yeah,
looking at
I
your
don't
phone.
know. I didn't like that. I don't
I
like
always
the
said when
Disney
I was looking
one.
at your phone, and it sounds so creepy.
I'm literally sitting on the couch scrolling, and she's sitting there with me. And
I went to sit down and snuggle up to him because he
well, yeah,
was
when you put your head on my shoulder, and I'm staring at my phone,
then I'm
you're
now
also
staring
staring at my phone. Yeah. I don't know. I'm on a slight hunt for my Pokemon cards from my youth. I don't think I still have them, but I'm pretty sure I still have my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So that'll be a sloppy second that'll take.
We're gonna go try to hunt them down.
Yeah,
today.
I'm genuinely very interested about finding them. I don't know what that has to do with checking in with myself, but
You're checking in with your child self,
man,
your inner child.
I don't remember who I was talking to, but I was talking to somebody about like having some of the like legendary Pokemon cards from back in the day. And I think it was Isaac. It was Isaac.
Probably.
And I was just like, dude, I loved them so much. I had so many. I think I had more Yu-Gi-Oh cards actually though. And I was talking to Isaac about it, and our generation is just or not generation, our age is just slightly too young to have played Pokemon as the actual card game. Like I actually have no understanding of it. It was really just a trading card.
Yeah.
It was never to play. Where Yu-Gi-Oh, we were still a little young, but we were old enough to understand the game of Yu-Gi-Oh.
So you understand the game.
No, I mean, it's been a long time, but I
you
could
did at
understand.
some
I
point?
did understand the game at one point. And that one was actually a little bit more fun, but the problem that I noticed with that game, at least at our age, was like you're a kid. So you only have the disposable income of whatever your parents are willing to put into your stupid card hobby, right?
Yeah.
So when you go to play people at this card game, if you didn't spend the money to have the fancy special cards, you're never going to win.
But couldn't you buy, or was that just Pokemon, when you could buy it and it was like a miscellaneous one and it could have been like this crazy special one?
Well, that's how they all are. But to get the crazy special one, you got to buy like 40 packs.
Oh.
And if the packs are $5 a piece,
yeah,
5 times 4.
So I lucked out in this because
Your older brothers.
I have 3 brothers. And so if they were into something and we were all into something, we could like join forces to like create this huge inventory of something.
Yeah, but I remember that and with my sister, and like, ain't no way I'm sharing my good cards with you. Ain't no way.
Well, I just had to wait for my brothers to like be done with it.
Right, which
Like
we're,
to be
which
over
is
it.
which is
And then I
fine
was
because
like, yes.
because it's the instant gratification, or you don't need the instant gratification. Where like me, all of my friends were that instant gratification.
This is why we are different.
What?
This is why you are not patient.
Why?
This is why I am more patient than you, because I had to like wait for like I knew I was gonna get it, but
your relation to if your friends were like also all getting all of it, and you were not, you would get that instant gratification. Like for me, every single one of my friends was also getting all of the cards, and like me not having specific cards didn't matter. Yeah. Really. I mean, of course it does as a kid. You have to have them all. But
gotta catch them all.
Exactly. I was going to, never mind. But it just, I mean, also I just love the instant gratification anyway, but that's not the whole, reason. You didn't care. Your friends did not
My friends
play
didn't
those
care
things.
at all.
So you weren't in that. So it didn't really matter.
Yeah. I mean, growing up, like there was a lot that I was exposed to and that I actually did care about that like my friends weren't even aware of, because my brothers were like 8 years older than me and 6 years older than me. And then one a year and a half younger than me. But like I was exposed to so much, like such a wide range, because they were so much older that it felt, I've always felt like I was into something different than like my peers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Once I started playing instruments, that's when I had that full separation.
Yeah. Anyway, Pokemon tangent.
Love it. I have no faith in finding those cards.
I know that there are cards at my mom's house.
Yeah, but there's a difference between someone else's Pokemon cards and my original Pokemon cards. You know what I mean? Like
I get that. Whenever you talk about this, I just like imagine you as a little kid. I know you're my husband, but like I imagine you being a small child that I am taking care of.
What does this have to do with?
Let's go find your cards.
Oh. They're lost. They're gone.
And I like want you so badly to find them. Like I'm, but you're not like my grown husband that I'm like, yeah, okay. I don't know. I gotta check in with myself for what
that's a good
that
thing,
is.
though.
Maybe, but like I shouldn't.
It means that you care.
That's true.
I think that's great. I like it.
All right,
I'm here for it.
let's go with that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Should we go find the cards?
We definitely need to find the cards.
Okay. I'm in.
Well, I wanted to talk about checking in with other people too.
Oh man.
So like,
how far did we get?
We got pretty far, I think. Not at all for your notes?
Well, my handwriting's big.
Okay, so I started watching, I didn't tell you this. Is this
something I wanted to watch too?
I hope not. Whenever I say that, you give me a look like, what have you done? I started watching a masterclass on empathy with Pharrell Williams.
Ooh, okay.
And I thought that it was very interesting. It's Pharrell Williams and hold on. Time out. Because it's not just Pharrell Williams.
Yeah, he has a weird masterclasses with people.
And I think that's so smart. And the way he worded it was so smart. He said, this is not a masterclass about music because I'm not a master in it. Like I'm still a student of music, even though that's like the thing that I think everyone who hears the name Pharrell Williams would think music. And he was like, I don't feel comfortable creating a masterclass on that. And it was like the few things that people would generally think of. And he's like, I'm not a master at it. But through all of these things, I have learned a lot about empathy. And I'm going to invite my friends who are masters on it to talk with me about it.
Interesting.
I thought that was very cool. But all of that was pretty eye-opening because I'm decent at checking in with others. I'm not great. I could be better. But I have to be careful how I say this because it comes off as like it comes off as an excuse, I think, but it is genuinely for real. I feel a lot of someone else's emotions. Like I feel a lot of whatever anyone else is going through. So I have to be careful for my own sake to not get too involved, basically, with someone else's thing. So like if I talk to my mom, for example, if I talk to my mom a lot, I start to feel like what she's going through. And then it kind of starts to take over for me. And I start almost acting as if I'm going through that thing when I'm not. It's not my thing. It's their thing. And I do that quite often. And I have finally realized it and understood it a little bit better and a little bit more. So as much as like checking in with others is extremely important because I want so badly to help everyone that I can help and like be there for everyone that I can be there for. But I also have to really take care of myself first and foremost because I am me and I'm living with me. And I have to be careful of what I take on from other people.
So that's you saying that you're good at checking in? Because you said you're good at checking in with others.
I do think I am fairly good at checking in with my friends and family. Fairly good. I could be better.
But then you just put the disclaimer of you don't like to check in because it affects you?
Well, I can't do too much because it can negatively affect me.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
I've just been bad recently. It's pretty straightforward for me. But that was because I chose that like when I wanted to like get in healthier shape, I wanted no outside sources besides the very curated specific few.
Which I understand.
Which was truly like you and Brian.
Yeah.
Like I wanted no one else, nothing else. Everyone can leave. And then I realized that kind of became a slight habit that I just kind of left it. And then it's like not fully undone itself yet. It's mostly undone itself, but like not fully. So like there's been a lot of like me being like, okay, see ya, everybody. And so I'm like, oh, okay, well, how do I not do that? I was like, so I gotta like actually recheck in with people. And also memes don't count. Because those never really stopped, but that's not a like checking in on people or like even making sure they exist or that like you're around.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it with this. I think we can leave it with this. I am so annoyed with Southern Californians. I'm in the way that they greet each other.
How so?
How are you?
The how are you that you don't care about?
Oh my gosh, man. Do not come at me with a how are you and literally leave the situation before I respond. Just say hi. Whoever made this fake BS needs to burn.
If I ask how are you, I'm asking how are you.
Same. I've been that way forever.
But it's always so fun for me when like I'm checking out at the grocery store. You have a few minutes there. I buy a lot of groceries when I go to the store and I have a few minutes and they do that. They go, how are you doing today? They don't. The ones that don't care, they don't expect me to respond. And I'll respond like, oh, I'm doing okay. Or like, I'm doing great. How are you? And they're like, like they don't know what to respond with.
There is a slight difference though between you being your 5'2" stature, bubbly, blue-eyed self, and then me, 5'9", kind of whatever, asking them the same thing. and a male versus a female, it is not the same response.
What do they do?
They're just like, yeah, I'm fine.
Really?
I get the like BS, like, dude, I didn't ask because I wanted you to ask me. I asked because I have to ring up your groceries.
I don't know if I've talked about this on here, but like the one I hope I never forget this. The one, it was such an emotional, like, oh my gosh, I am so glad I'm here in this moment, because this cashier person asked this woman, how are you doing today? And she full on responded. Like, she full on said what was wrong. And it was a really, really bad day. She was like, I'm having a really bad day. And she went on and explained it. And I was like, I am made for this moment. And I was in line and I went up to her and I like gave her a hug. And I was like talking to her because the cashier was like, I don't know what to do in this moment. And I was like, this woman needs help right now. Like, she is opening up about this because she needs to. Like, she doesn't have anyone to open up about this right now, open up to. And so I was like, I'm made for this moment. I'm so glad I'm here right now. And I just overheard this being in line. And that could have gone really bad because they could have been like, get away from me. But she was needing that. But yeah, that one day I was like, oh my gosh, this is what they get for asking and not caring. Like, if you're going to ask, respond.
I always respond with like an honest, like, I'm pretty good. How about yourself? And most of the time they're just gone. They're just gone. And I'm like, I have some chosen words that I'm like, if I re-interact with you, I'm going to slap you with some words that you aren't going to like.
I think my least favorite, and you do this one, is what's up?
What do you mean?
What are you supposed to respond with what's up? Like, what are you doing? How are you doing?
What do you mean? What context is it in? Because I say what's up in a few different contexts.
Like, literally like a friend, you see a friend and you're like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, it's not the same as like, how are you? It's
you're
just
not
like,
actually asking.
No,
like,
I can't.
What's up?
That's fine. Yeah, if you were to be like, if you were to ask me, well, it's weird for you to ask me what's up.
Hey, what's up?
Or for, I feel like for you, I don't feel like I ask you or tell you that often.
No, not to me. You do it to your friends.
Oh, you're saying it bothers you that I do it to them?
Well, because like,
or you don't know how to respond?
I don't know how to respond to that.
Because if I was to be like, what's up, man? Like, which I say a lot.
You say that a lot.
Yeah. But that's the hey, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? It's really like, what's going on? Because it's like, if you're here and you appear, it's like,
got it.
What's up? You know, like, why are you here? I'm not going to go in and be like rudely, like, why are you here? What is going on? Tell me everything. Tell me how you got here. It's like, give me whatever you want to give me that lines up with the what's up in that.
Because in my head, I go through a whole list of what's up, like what's up in my life today. I'm like, oh, well, I did this. I'm going to do this. I plan to do this. This is what I had for lunch.
If you were to start there, I'd be like, hey, pause. Let's get settled wherever we just arrived, because that's usually like getting somewhere. It's like, let me settle. Let me get a water or something to drink or something.
Down.
Let me get a coffee. Let's settle into this one and then let's go. But I want to know.
What's up is a hard one for me. I'd rather have how are you and have them actually care.
Well, I want both. There's no reason you can't have both, but I hate being asked how you are for the person to have already glazed over in the process of asking it.
Is that just a California thing, or
it's
is
like
that
it's like
thing?
a Southern California thing?
Interesting.
Because if you notice, I mean, I can't fully take everybody for it, but a lot of times it's not a hi. It's how are you?
Well,
and then they've moved on.
If you think of other languages, that's commonly asked.
Yes, but
are they actually asking?
But you await the actual response.
Okay.
And then the conversation might be swayed. In Southern California, it is the exact same as a hi.
So often, he's right. People will just say like, how are you? And then they literally turn away.
And they leave.
It's like,
they don't want a response.
How was I supposed to answer that quickly?
It's the worst. It is a very big peeve of mine for our
very big
home area.
peeve.
Yeah.
Not a pet peeve? A peeve.
No, it's not small enough to be a pet. It's a big old one.
It's a big peeve.
Yeah. Angry.
I get that.
I really don't like that one, honestly, though.
I do need more coffee.
All right, let's do that.
That's a big peeve of mine, running out of coffee.
Oh, give me the caffeination in my veins.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to feed that caffeine addiction.
Yes, we will. If you have not liked this, well, I hope that you like this podcast. If you did like it, can you please thumbs up that baby for us? If you're listening, please leave a review. That would be really wonderful. If you are not subscribed, please do that. That would be really awesome. And if you want episodes early, if you like us, if you want to support us, if you love us, you can sign up for a membership on the YouTube channel or on our website, glitterandcatlitter.com. And we will see you next time.
Bye.